Welcome, everybody, to the Belt Barber podcast, the first and only podcast about entrepreneurship for barbers and professional of our beauty industry. I'm Chico. I'm your host today, and I have here today. We're gonna have a chat with Diego. He's the owner of the Cave in Orlando. Diego, thank you very much for coming. You have a over 2 hours and a half drive. Thank you for coming. Diego, share your story. Share with us who you are, what you do, everything.
First of all, thank you guys for inviting me. It's not a long way, but a little bit now. First of all, I'm from São Paulo, Brazil. I've actually been here for 8 years now, United States. I can tell you for sure, I did not come here to be a barber or to be a business owner. I had none of those things in my mind. I actually came to college to play soccer, and that's it. But you know how things go different in life when things happen when you're not expecting. So that's when it gets most, you know, challenging sometimes. When I first came to Orlando, it was in 2016. Uh, I never actually had any type of involvement in the barbershop business. Of course, I used to go to a barber to get a haircut, but nothing that, like, say, one day I'll be a barber or one day I'll become an owner of a barbershop. It happened that once I used to work in a hotel as a front desk agent, and then I got fired from my job. And then the next day I had an appointment with my barber, and then he just started working in a different place, which is the K Barbershop. And then when I told him what happened, he was like, "Hey, hold on, let me see if I can help you." And then at the same time, the previous owner was there, and then my barber told him, "Hey, we're not looking for somebody to work as a front desk for you, because I know you mentioned it before, and then it could be a good match for you, because he used to work at the front desk in a hotel, has a little bit of experience with customer service. Now I think it would be nice for you." And he didn't think twice. He asked me to come the next day, and then I did show up. I believe that's when everything started for me. So that was September 2016. September 2016. And it was a little bit different than I was expecting, because I was okay with customer service, but I was not expecting to be more, because when you work at a hotel, the only thing you do is like say, "Hi, how are you? You want to check in?" Like a couple of things. But when you work at barbershop, you literally have to become a friendship with your clientele. You gotta be more. How can I say it? You gotta be more, attractive. So you make sure that person is feeling comfortable.
In the hotel, you usually see that person once and they never come back, maybe years later, right?
Exactly.
And the shop, you have people, the same people coming over and over.
You just gotta for a hotel. You just gotta make sure you comfortable with the client the first time. Make sure you have a happy smile and all this stuff. When you work in the barbershop, that person, it comes at least twice, 3 times in a month. So you gotta make sure that guy is gonna come back and then welcome you in a different way. More as a friend than just a regular client. So it took me a couple of months to switch that thing, from not a hotel agent no more. Now I work in the barbershop, and then I had to learn and then by myself pretty much, because the previous owner was not a barber as well, and he was just starting that business, so he couldn't give you as much tip. So I had to go to the barbers, ask them, "Hey, what do you expect me to do? How do you want me to treat the clients? Can you give me a tip?" Because that's the best way to learn with somebody that actually in the business for years.
Would you say they never trained you? They just say, "Hey, you're here, answer the phone, do your thing."
Exactly.
Without
Never trained
any
me. So you
guidance.
you know how to answer the phone, right? It's like, yeah. You know how to schedule an appointment. It's like, yeah. So that's all you need to do. It's like, all right. But I had to learn to myself to be different in a barbershop. And mostly because of the place that I was. because it was not just a regular barbershop at the moment, and it was something to be extraordinary, not comparing to just a regular barbershop. So I put that in my mind that I needed to show that to the client that we're different. So how can we be different, not just from a regular haircut, but starting from the customer service at the front? So when that started, when I put that in my mind, that's when things start working out for us. So I start calling clients to play some pool, to chat, talk about life, ask about how they're doing with life, what they do for a living. A couple of things like that that makes the client feel comfortable. When they get there, they not just want to get a haircut, but they also want to
Involving more, right?
exactly. They want to relax. They want to be themselves. So that took us to a different level very quick. Nah. And that's also what made us go to a different path at the same time. Because when you just first time owner and then you start seeing money faster than you expected and you don't know how to administrate, things could go wrong. That happened to us, and that's why I only stayed at my first year in a barbershop and I had to move out. So I literally asked to quit because things were going wrong, and then I couldn't just stay there and watch things go wrong.
What would you say was the mistake of the previous owner in
So,
managing that?
so pretty much his main mistake was not knowing how to administrate the money or any type of expenses he had for the business. So not knowing how to separate what's theirs, barbers, and what's his. That was the main shock for him because when you don't keep track of your money, sometimes you don't know what's coming in and what's coming out. So let's say you open your bank account and you see a certain amount of money and you think, wow, I'm doing great. But you don't know if that amount it's 100% yours. So if you don't know how to keep track on that, things go wrong. And I guess that's what happened to him the first time because, he's human. And then we learn from our mistakes.
Would you say he was surprised that after you started there and you started building those relationships, more money started coming in and then he got excited? Oh, see, the shop is doing well. And then he started spending the money that he shouldn't. That's what you would say.
Definitely, he wasn't expecting things to go right, like to go in a certain way that we did for so fast. Because let's say you open a business, you expect that things start like running by themselves. So after a year, 2 years mostly, and then out of nowhere you open a business and in 3-4 months you start making a couple of like enough money for you to pay your bills, and then have some leftovers, and then 2 more months you're making more money than expected, but you don't keep track of what actually yours. So, and it gets to the point then when the money is not just yours, and then when somebody else wants to take part of it, and then you already used that money, that's when things start going the wrong way. Because see, someone used what's not, let's say he had money over there and then he bought something that he shouldn't. And then when the person that actually owns that part of the money try to take it and then it doesn't have in the account, both people are gonna be like very disappointed, and then things could go wrong in like working environment, because when you walk inside there, you feel there's a like a bad vibe, and then because of internal issues, and then that's all because of money. Money could cause a lot of problems.
Too.
They always say don't mess up with like your employees' money.
Exactly.
Never ever do that, right?
Exactly.
They have to be paid on time.
I heard
regularly.
something a long time ago. I think my grandpa always said, like, if you have a business, the first person you have to take care of is the employee, because if you need employees, it's because you need somebody to take over for you while you administrate. So if they don't get paid, how's the business going to survive?
We have two type of clients. First client is our team. Second is the regular clients, the regulars that come
Correct.
to the shop. So you quit the barbershop and
I
then
did. I quit. Things did go wrong at a time, and I wasn't there to see it, which made me sad because you create that type of relationship with people, barbers, because you're most of the time in a barbershop than you're in actually a home. So it was sad seeing things going the wrong path, but I didn't want to put a foot in there because I didn't want to be part of it. And then after things actually went down the hole, there was some light at the end of the tunnel. So new owner show up, and then it was a woman, and then she asked me to work with her again. She's like, "Why don't you try to come back? You know, let's try things different. Let's try things on a different perspective view. Let me be your guide," or something like that. I was like, how do you want to be my guide if you don't know how to handle the business? If you never had a barbershop before. She's like, "All right, let me be your money guide while you take over the barbershop."
How did she find out about you? Because you quit, and then out of nowhere, this lady comes and say, "Hey, Diego, come work with me." How did she find out about you? She heard about you from the clients, from the barbers?
From the clients.
Okay.
So when she actually took over the barbershop, the clients were telling her, "Listen, if you want to make sure this business is going to go forward, you need to bring Diego back." She was like, "Who is Diego?" And the clients will tell her, Diego is pretty much the face of the barbershop. He is the one that's actually putting things together. So if you do want to make sure your barbershop is going to go somewhere, please bring him back. So she did everything she could. You know, I did deny a couple of times because I wasn't 100% sure if I should go back or not, you know, because I remember what happened before. But I was like, I think, I won't say proud, but I had, I think, the experience and then the knowledge to make sure things come over, you know, like that I would bring the barbershop back from the hole. And then I was like, well, you know what? Let me give it a shot.
Okay, but you were working at the time where?
I was working the bank.
Okay.
You know, so I had a good job. You know, I was working only weekdays. I had the weekends
off. What position
off. I was working at not just a regular bank, but a financial bank. So I used to take over car financials, auto insurance, stuff like that. I was the manager of all of it. So I was the top of everything. So I had a good position. I had a good salary. Nothing to complain about. Nothing to leave that life to go to something that it was almost 100% sure that would not go well. But again, it came to my mind that it was a challenge for myself. I was finishing college on that kind of situation, so I was doing general administration, manager administration, actually. So I was like, you know what? It's a challenge for myself because I'm actually studying that. So why not use all the knowledge that I know and put them in something that's real? And then I had my family support. They were like, you know, if you think you can do it, just go for it. You know, why not? You're young. If things go wrong, find something else. But make sure you don't close your doors. So that's what I did. Even though I quit the bank, you know, I made sure to talk to my manager and be friendly with him, and tell him why I was actually living. No, I wasn't just living because I was some
Being
bank.
honest.
Yeah, some bank took and wants to pay me more. No, I was trying to, you know, to put a step ahead of my life. And then he was very understandable. You know, he supported me. It's like, go ahead. If you need any help, I'm here for you, which was really great because he was still my client. And then, well, I took over the barbershop in January in 2019. So that was a whole new year because I had to do a lot of changes in the barbershop. Today's barbershop names is actually the Ultimate Cave Barbershop.
Why did you guys change the name?
So
it was the Cave?
So it was the Cave Barbershop.
Okay.
We started that way. But when I took over, I had a lot of things in my mind. Like, you know what, to claim the name of the barbershop, why not change the name? Why not change the logo maybe? You know, be a whole different place. And then I had the advice from my father's like, you know what, let me tell you something. Instead of you doing all that going all that trouble of changing your logo, changing your name, why don't you just update? Make something more clear, more modern. You have the capability to do it. Just go ahead, look forward, put some things in your mind, but don't actually change everything. Because remember, if you change everything, you have to change all the perspective in the barbershop, logos,
you
flyers.
would have to change the whole identity of the brand, right?
Correct,
The
yeah.
sign outside, and it costs a lot of money. And at this time, you're not the owner. You're just working there for the
previous
lady
owner.
that
Exactly.
came and asked. You're
I
just
wasn't
an
the owner,
employee,
yeah.
let's say.
I wasn't the owner. I was still employee, but I had a couple of things that I could do it that I couldn't do it before.
Okay.
So I took over the marketing. I took over I was actually a real manager.
Okay.
I took over the administration. I took over a lot of things. She gave me permission to do all this stuff. She was only pretty much, I was in my bank at the first. Of course, I wouldn't do nothing without her saying yes. But at first, when I used to provide her with something, with some idea, she could not say no because how would she know if it was good or not? She was trusting me. So I was like, so if you trust me this is going to work. If I'm giving you this idea, it's because I believe it's going to do something good for the barbershop. And then if it wasn't for her trusting me, I think it wouldn't be where we are today. So that year it was very challenging.
What challenges you faced?
I had to do a lot of meetings because I had to claim the name from the barbershop from the previous owner from a lot of different places. Places that we used to own, places that even though we wouldn't owe them, but they have friends that we used to owe, and they'd be like, what, don't go over there. That's not a nice place for you. So we had to clear our name from literally the whole city.
What a challenge.
It was a big challenge. And then at the same time, it took my time from being... I was actually in the barbershop, but at the same time, my mind, it wasn't focused in there because I had to clear the name from the outside. So it brought me good things. At the same time, it brought me bad things. So in my mind, I was doing something great because I noticed the clientele was getting better. We had more walk-ins showing up. I had to change it. Things in Google, things in Yelp, Facebook, Instagram, everything had to be different. We registered the name, so our name, the Ultimate Cave Barbershop,
is it trademarked?
It's a trademarking.
Okay.
So that's the first thing that I did because we only added a word between the name that we had. She was like, why the Ultimate Cave? I was like, because if we are ultimate, it means we're on top. That's the meaning of the word, pretty much. She was like, all right, if you say so, let's go for it. So I did update the logo. A logo before was just the caveman and then the name around it. So I pretty much took the caveman out of the inside of the circle. I let him be more himself, and then I changed the grammar of the name, the Ultimate Cave Barbershop, made more nice, could say, and then people loved it.
It's interesting what you're saying about trademark because our barbershop is also trademarked. The name Invictus Barbershop. It's a federal trademark. Did you do the federal or the state?
No, federal.
The federal, right?
Yes.
And we found out that some barbershops were using your name, and we actually have the right to sue them because the name is trademarked. And a lot of barbers have no idea how important it is to trademark your brand.
That's true.
And to protect the name. And first, before you even start, to do a research if that name is not trademarked, because then it's very costly to go to court, and the person who owns the trademark will win 100%. There is no way you can fight. You're going to lose it. So it's interesting that since you're not a barber and you did college in administration, so you had this idea like, okay, that's the first step. I got to trademark my brand.
Yeah, that's the first step. That's why one of the reasons why we also changed the name, because we tried to do the trademark with the Cave Barbershop, but we couldn't.
There's one called Man Cave.
Exactly. There is no the Cave Barbershop, but there is Caveman's, Man Cave's Barbershop, something similar to it. Why? just because of that, they wouldn't allow us to trademark the name, the K Barbershop. When I actually changed the name to the Ultimate K Barbershop, they accepted. I was like,
Great.
perfect.
Did you use a someone specialized? Did you use a lawyer or a company to help you?
I did use a company that works just with trademarkings.
Okay.
That's one of the things that I started doing afterwards, because I was like, let me stop doing things by myself. Even though if I say myself, I'm knowledge enough, I'm smart enough to do things on my own. No, I'm not, because there's a lot of things that that it's not under my religion. I think things that I cannot do it. Yes. Even though I think it's easier to do it, I'm not a pro on that. So let me find someone that knows how to do it, even though it has to cost money.
Yes.
At least it'll be safer.
Do it properly.
Do it properly.
When you were because you're not a barber, you have that mind that is you are entrepreneur. You got it in your blood. So when you started doing all this thing, to the strategy behind to bring new clients, to clear the name, and you were focused on this side, what about your team, the old team you had?
So that was a big issue that I had, because let's say the whole year 2019 was a good year. So it was a good coming back. A lot of people started coming back to the barbershop. A lot of old clients started coming back, which was nice to see. New celebrities started coming, which was great for us, because not the actual celebrity, it'll make me money, it bring me money, but they would put my name out there. They would exposure my name a lot.
How did they find you? Like, how do you attract celebrities to your business? A lot of barbers want to like cut hair of celebrities. How they come to you?
She stole my question.
Oh, really? I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
So
we think the same.
So the first celebrity that came to us was Luigi Botticelli. So he was an actor, still an actor, and he just showed up there. So he was the first out of nowhere. He just showed up there. It was pretty nice to have somebody that we've seen on TV walk into your business. And then, so he was my bridge to all those guys, pretty much. So once you get an actor, someone famous to your place, and that person actually wants to help you, loved your place, and want to make sure other people can see it, that opens up a lot of bridges to actors, famous people from every single career. So he was my first, and then I had soccer players start coming in. I had Doni was a goalkeeper from Corinthians.
I don't know much about soccer.
Yeah.
I know how to cut.
So I had Bola from the TV show Pânico. So those guys was the first like celebrities that we met. That wasn't so huge out there, but there was someone, and then they had a good algorithm. That's a hard word to say. Yeah,
algorithm.
To bring more people in, people that would have never known about us, and that they found out through those guys, and they'll be like, "Oh, what a nice place! What a different environment. What up?
It's like
showed up there.
One celebrity attract the others because they're friends and they know each other, right?
Exactly.
As soon as you get one, this one bring another one that brings another one, and it keeps coming.
The bad thing about it is if you don't know how to treat those guys, and if you don't put him with the right person, things could go the wrong way. So at first, I had a lot of those guys going to one person. Why? Because I was afraid just, welcome those guys and just put them in any chair, and then they don't like what they got. So what's going to be for me? It's not the barber's image that's going to go to the trash. It's mine. So I had to be really specific where to put those guys in who with, because I need to make sure that they would have a good client, a good barber. They would give just a regular service, a good quality, and then a good chit chat, So it was really tough, because when you pick someone, the other barbers will look at you like, why not me?
They got jealous.
Exactly. Say, why are you choosing somebody else over me? Give me the reasons why. And I had to explain, because of this, because of this, because of that. And then the fact that when you put too many famous people with one barber and the guy leaves, what happens to you? You got a 50-50 chance that most of those people follow him and then someone will stay. But if they follow him, so it wasn't the place itself that was keeping them there. It was mostly the barber. That happened to me. No, that happened to me. Of one of those guys leave. He left the barbershop and he took most of those famous people with them.
We just cutting you off a little quick. At a shop, we create an environment that all our clients. I train all my barbers, right? From whenever they start, they need to be in train at least like for 3 months and more, 6 months before they start. And then they're going to deliver the same exactly excellence and quality. So if you go there for a haircut, it's not going to be much difference. The difference is not going to be about the service because it's all standard. The difference might be someone is more quiet, someone is more like outgoing, but the service will be the same. So that's what we...
has to be at least like 80-90%.
89%.
Exactly the same.
When you were, when you had your old team, right? And then that year, you were struggling with your team. I want you to keep going with that story.
Yeah, so let me join two questions at once. So answer the first question. The first year that I had to do a lot of things for the barbershop, it took me a little bit far away from the barbers, and the point that I was not paying attention what they were doing. So I was not saying put them on a leash, but making sure they were following simple rules, as coming back, getting the shop at the right time. Make sure to wear at least a good uniform, properly clothed. Make sure you treat your clients the right way. Not the way you want it, but the way the barbershop's supposed to be treating. Because if you want to be a different place, everybody has to be on the same page. So it doesn't... What's the point of you having a nice place if you have a guy that would not welcome in? Let's say you call the barber and say, hey, so introduce to this is your client. He's going to be with you today. You'll be like, all right, sit down in my chair.
Yes.
You know, how sounds rude.
Sounds rude, exactly. And then the guy comes back another day. He's like, hey, let me try a different person. And then a different barber comes like, hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. My name is Fulano. Welcome to my chair. He'll be like, whoa, why wasn't I treated like that the first time? And then what happened is that little detail, that little thing, start creating a lot of troubles inside the barbershop. So internal issues that it's really difficult.
Things that you couldn't see because you were creating the whole strategy too.
So I started noticing those things when one of my barbers one day had a full schedule on a Saturday, and then I texted him. I was like, "Hey, where are you? Your first client's here." He's like, "Hey, I'm not going." It's like, "What?
Where you at?
Where are you?" It's like, no, I'm Miami." It's like, "What are you doing in Miami?"
Party
on a Saturday. What I'm gonna do with your client? I know, I was just resting. I was tired from the week. And that moment I noticed that I was like, that's my fault. That is my fault because I did not put myself as their manager. I was putting myself as their administration for the barbershop. So I was doing things for the barbershop, but not for the barbers. So I wasn't someone that they would actually know, hey, Diego, would you mind if I go on a vacation?
But the good thing, you are accountable for that. That's what gave you the push. That's what gave you more, what I would say. When you're more accountable, that's when you start changing for better.
That's what I was about to say. It's interesting that instead of blaming the barber, like, oh, this barber, look at him. You took the responsibility, like, okay, it's my fault. I wasn't close enough to them. I wasn't training them properly. I wasn't building the relationship. I can relate because we did this mistake too in the early phases of when we opened the shop. We were so busy trying to attract clients, trying to make sure they were making money so they wanted to stay with us. We were so busy with marketing, money, cleaning, organizing that we forgot about the human relationship side. And we made the same mistake, which cost us losing your team and having to start all over, but then starting better because we took the responsibility. Like, it was our fault. It's not the barber's fault. Like, what you say is just so powerful.
We are so focused in making things happen, like paying the bills. When you open up at first, you might not have the money to pay the bill every month. You have to make it that money. And then we took our eye from the main client. There is the team. And then that creates a lot of troubles for us.
Yeah, for me, it was that shock of seeing someone not showing up because he didn't want it to show up. And that opened up my eyes for a lot of things. It made me know, like, wow, look at the barbershop. What a mess this is right now. I gave so much effort of myself to make sure the barbershop names was clear that I forgot the inside, which is the most important part. I started noticing things were so disorganized. Like trash, things that it were easily done, beers all over, barbers items all over the place, scissors on the bar, top of the bar, things like, why is this in here?
What did you do?
No,
what happened?
And then it was a shock to myself. I was like, what I'm doing? I'm losing myself in here. Because I'm giving so much effort of something that I forgot the inside part. So that was pretty much the whole year to 2019. So 2020 was a year that I was like, you know what? This year, it's going to be my year. It's going to be the year that I already cleaned the name. So now I'm going to put myself at top. Because that's where I want to be. I don't want to be at top. I want to be different. I want to make sure that people coming in and it's like, wow. This is a different barbershop. I never seen something like that. That's what I want to hear. So I was ready. I made sure I had a meeting in the first month of the year. I was like, so things are gonna be different from now on. You want to start communicating more. You're not gonna do anything without talking to me first. I was prepared for all the challenges of that year, but I wasn't prepared for something else, COVID.
Wow.
I think no one was, right? So imagine you took a whole year to clean your business name, and then when finally things start getting back, boom, COVID, and you gotta shut down your doors. You got two options. Got desperate. Or pray a little bit, and have a little bit of faith that things is gonna get back one day.
The problems are there. What are the solutions?
Exactly. So we stay closed for 2 months. I guess you guys did as well. And then it was challenging for us when we had to open up back, see how things would go. And of course, when you open the business after 2 months, you close. It's, I would say, normal to walk in, to not a lot of people come in, because at the same time you were at home, all your clients were at home as well. One another was to go, let's say, like my barbers, they need to survive as well. So sometimes they would go to the client's house, get their own money. I cannot say no to that. They need to survive as well.
Exactly.
We are lucky because Florida was the only state that we have more privilege.
We just stay closed for 2 months, compared to other states, right?
And all the procedures and regulations was easier on us.
Yeah.
California, all this other.
New
California
York.
just reopened, right?
Yeah, hair salons there had to be closed for so long.
We went to California, everything was shut down.
Yeah.
All the doors were down.
Yeah,
A lot of
we're
business
privileged on
closed.
that aspect. I cannot deny that. Because at the end of the year, 2020, things were getting back. In November, December, things were more, I say, easier to manage it with clients. We were not struggling with money. Never had that issue. That's the difference between owners. The first owner had a mistake. Second owner was very on top of it on the administration. So she had me, and at the same time, she was very smart, with numbers. So she was able to save money even though the doors closed. She couldn't actually help us, but she could maintain the business open. Doors are closed, but business was still open. And then we start getting back in shape at the end of the year. But when you start getting back with the clientele, we had another issue which was between barbers and us, management. So that was when barbers start wanting to overcome us because they felt the difference between 2019, 2020. So they want to make sure they would have enough money to survive, but they were not thinking about barbershop anymore. It was like me, myself, and I, pretty much. So, or you help me, or I'm out of here. So when it gets to that point that you don't know how to manage that, you don't know how to take control of your barbers, you could lose your mind, literally, because barber, it's not an easy person. It's actually someone hard for you to deal with because they know they need you. Because how are you going to keep the business, in my case, if I'm not a barber?
You mean they know that you need them?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They knew
that you needed
They
him.
realized, yeah.
and the previous owner would need 100% of their hands. Otherwise, the business wouldn't keep going. So
you felt like they were like threatening, like if you don't give me what I want, I'm leaving.
Exactly.
And then you're not gonna have a business
they
because
thought
you need me.
they had everything on their hands.
The same team from 19 to 20?
Same team. Same team. Of course, we had a little more barbers. I had 2 more barbers. So I was with 4 barbers, 2019. 2020, I had 2 more. So at the beginning of the year of 2021, previous owner, she was like, listen, my head is not in the game anymore, because she fell in depression with the barbers. And then barbershop wasn't her, main point of life. No, like her, like, I survived because of the barbershop. No, she had other things to do. So it was more as a, a status, could say. She loved the place. That's why she did not want to just give it up to any person. So she came to me and she was like, listen, why don't you take over? Why don't you buy the place? I was like, it's not a bad idea. No. But where I'm going to bring that money from? Now, I'm not invested. I never invest anything in my life. No, my parents are not investors. They always work under somebody's place. They always had bosses. So should I or should I not do it? Can I or can I not do it? Should I get a loan? How's it going to be?
You didn't have the money at the time when she offered. Like, you didn't have the money to simply go and buy it.
I was a regular manager,
you're just an employee working for her.
I had a good salary, what I could leave, but not something that I would like. I had the money to buy a property. I had money to buy a business. No, I was just living my life. And then when she came with the proposal, I was, let me go ahead and talk to my parents first, see if maybe they can do something about it. Because my parents were living here as well. So it was actually the perfect timing to talk to them because my parents were talking to between them and they got in a moment that was like, you know what? Our lives is in here now, United States. So there's no point of keeping our money in Brazil. So they had it in mind, or we bring that money to invest in something, business, or we can buy the house. What can we do? What should we do? So when I came today with the idea of buying a barbershop, my father didn't think twice. He's like, no, I'm living in an apartment. My rent it was not that crazy. I'm happy with what I am. I am going to buy a house today, but I believe it's better if we buy something for the family, and then one day we find the money to buy a house. So they agree with me, and I came here like, we're ready.
Love, what is the phrase that you always say about between buying a business or buying a house? What do you say?
Let me go back a little. We had the money to buy a house or open up the business. Me and me and her, we come to a conclusion that we should buy a business, because a business can give you many houses, but one house can give you a business.
Correct. I believe that was the same thought that we had between us. So we agreed to buy the business. And then we had our agreement with her, who made things go through. And then on March 2021, business was ours. We're very happy with it. It was his first business, first time business owner. What a challenge. I thought myself, well, I was not the owner before, but I was pretty much close to it. So I'm going to take this easily. First month, what we do, we sit down, schedule for the meeting with the barbers. I was like, listen, you all know my parents, but we're going to introduce ourselves again as your new owners, new management. If you know, I was still here, but now with different title. Things need to change a little bit because the previous owner wasn't using the barbershop to leave. We are. Barbershop's going to be our main point of money. So, everything she was offering you guys, everything she was giving to you guys was too much for us to leave with.
You were talking about the commission
and percentage and all this stuff. So, again, we're talking about money. So when you start talking about money, people don't always get satisfied. So when we said that we had to lower percentage and lower commission.
How much were you paying? What was the percentage?
So we were paying 70% to each barber.
We made the same mistake, right, babe?
So because we were pretty much on their hands. So what we give what they want, things are not gonna go through. But when we took over, we were very honest. We showed the numbers. I was like, we didn't bring enough money to keep for a couple of months. We brought money to buy the business, and that's it. So if in this month you guys don't make enough money to pay the rent, we don't pay the rent. No.
Shut down the doors. Yeah.
I was like, unfortunately, I'm not a millionaire. I live a good life, but I depend on this. So if you guys don't help me, I have to shut down the doors. And I didn't buy something to close in the next month. I bought something to make sure my family's going to live on this. And then one day, my name is going to be known for more places than just Florida or just Orlando. So that was my main goal. I always told my parents, listen, the old making barbershop, it's not going to be just one barbershop. It's going to be many.
That's so nice to hear. You had the vision. A lot of people start a business without a vision, what they want.
Mm-hmm.
You were like determined. I want to have many barbershops.
Yeah.
Before you continue, we did the same. I can't say mistake, or sometimes I can say mistake too, but we were sharing 70% to the barbers when we first started, because this is stagnant with our barbering culture. I don't know if you know about that, but way back, that comes from way back, that barbershops should pay back the barbers like 70%, 65%. But it's not realistic because you can't survive with all the overhead costs.
I think if you do the math, if you know your numbers, you realize that it's not feasible to pay more than 60 to your barbers. You can create bonus, you can create ways that they can make more money, but to run a business, to keep all the overhead costs, if you're paying more than 60 to your barber, you probably are not seeing your numbers correctly, or you don't know how to understand them, because it's not possible.
We were very honest with them. We showed them the numbers, literally. I opened the bank account. Listen, this is the numbers. I took the took the statement from the merchant, and I showed them the whole month numbers, what we made, and then what we're surviving with, what's left for us. We're very, very clear. And that what makes us sad, because we noticed that they wouldn't care. It's like, it's not a problem.
Wow.
That's normal. That's
not our problem. My problem is how much you're going to give me. So if you don't give me enough, I don't care what you're going through. So that was a shock for us, because those are people that we were dealing with for years, telling that they don't literally give a crap about us, saying the right words.
Wow.
And then, so we told them, listen, if you're not happy with, please, doors are open. There's a lot of people wanting to be here. So that's the only option that we have. And then I guess it was fate that showed us that they were just threatening, because when we said, okay, get up and leave, no one left. No one left. Why? Because why would you leave something that's certain to go somewhere that they don't know what's going to be? What that gave us the opportunity to start cleaning the things inside us, to organize things inside of the barbershop.
To ask that.
Because when we saw the chance, when we gave them the opportunity to actually leave because they weren't feeling comfortable, but they didn't want to because they were just threatening, we started doing the opposite. So we started making sure now the business is going to be the way I want it. I want this place to be organized. So you don't want to put your scissors on your stand. So you want to leave your stuff on top of the bar. You want to leave your cape on top of the couch. So you're not going to be working with me anymore. And then when I start firing one by one,
wow,
they started getting shocked because they were not expecting that to happen.
How many you were left with?
So I had 6 barbers, and then I was left with 1.
Oh my God.
But that was
Pretty
for the
much.
better. Sometimes you have to start from.
Pretty much. Talking about money, it was a huge shock because I had 6 barbers and all of them with full clientele, and then one by one was leaving, and then I found myself just having 1 barber with the full clientele, and I had to put different barbers over there with
No
0 clients.
clientele.
Not talking about experience, but just clients. What's gonna be of us now? What we gonna do? Parents will freak out. Father in specific, but like, are we done? Oh my God! Like, listen, let me take over. I told you that I wanted to buy this business because I know it's gonna get better. So trust me. We need to do that because that's gonna bring us to a different path. Have faith
Yeah.
in your son, not in the business, like in your son.
So that was to
Yeah.
2021, right?
That was 2021, exactly. So after I had that big change of barbers, I found myself having finally a family inside the barbershop. Because before I had barbers, I didn't have people that would actually care about me and my parents in the name of the barbershop. And then I found myself having people that were caring about our name. They were not working for themselves. They were working for the barbershop. Of course, everybody wants to make money. But they knew, that new crew knew if they help us, they'll be helping themselves. It was just, having a little bit of faith, and in time would brought back everything they were, cultivating. And then I was very satisfied with that, happy. Now, of course, it wasn't something from day to the night. It took a whole year, pretty much. It's a whole 2021 facing that challenge.
Building a new team.
Building a new team.
So now you have an established barbershop since for how long now?
So we opened in 2016. So it's about
August. When you took over.
I just did it here. So March
2020, right?
Yeah, 2021 when I took over.
21.
So last month I did a year as a first time owner, and then it feels different because I had to go through a lot of things. I'm still human, so I had to make a lot of mistakes to learn from it. But that's the difference if you wanted to be somebody that everybody has their own focus and then their own goal. So my goal was to make sure that no matter what mistake I made, I would overcome that and still be on top. So that was my goal, still is. So I had to learn from every single mistake and brought with me even things. So I wouldn't make the same mistake again with new barbers, with clients, sponsors, whatever it was. And then I can say honestly today that I'm very satisfied with the crew that we have. You know, I could come on a trip, for example.
I actually, I admire you. You're not a barber. You are an entrepreneur. I can tell. You're very successful in your business, and you want to grow. And you invest in, and you talk all about growth and helping others and building a team. I know this guy from Brazil. He's the owner of a Corleone barbershop in Brazil. He's not a barber, but he's very successful business owner. So what are the difficulties you see and happen to you because you're not a barber? What you face? What difficulties you face?
So if you're not a barber and you're not there, things are not gonna work. So if you want to invest in a barbershop, but you don't want to become a barber, because I had all the opportunity and time to become a barber, to learn something. But I always told them, don't waste your time. I don't have the patience to cut hair. I do not want to cut hair. I do want to be on the face of it. I want to make sure everything's on point. That's what I use my time with. It's like, no, but you should learn. No, because every barber tells that you should learn because you don't have to depending on us. You couldn't make your own money. I was like, listen, I am making my own money, but I don't want to be a barber.
You don't need to be a barber to run a barbershop, right? But as you said, you need to be there. You can't just leave them by themselves.
I think that's what I was trying to prove to everybody else, that you don't actually need to be a barber to have a barbershop. But at the same time, you cannot just open something and then pretend the money is going to go coming through easily. Because when you're not there, things don't work. If you don't have a team, a crew like I have today, no one's going to help you. You don't have somebody in the face, something from the, okay, so Diego, you need to go do something. Don't worry. I'll charge the client for you, I'll answer the phone. I'll set up the walking list. I'll do things for you. I'll help you. Sometimes I'm not even there, and then one of my barbers called me, hey, Diego, I did a checklist for you, things that is missing in the barbershop for you to buy. I never had somebody to do that for me before. No, but it took time. It took a lot of patience with barbers to find exactly crew that would have done that for me. But again, if you're not there at first to make sure you find the type of barbers, things are not gonna work.
What about like seeing a haircut and say it and judge, like this haircut is good, we have to train more? And
so this is another thing that I believe, even though you're not a barber, but you wanted to be part of the business, you need to understand what's going on. So you need to learn all the terms. You need to know when the haircut is good or not good. It's funny because sometimes barbers call me, hey, Diego, can you take a look if you find any lines? Because sometimes they had so many clients that it gets blended for them. Sometimes they're just like, can you just take a look at for me, see if we find something? It's funny because sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. But it's a different from a client perspective view. Get over there and see a haircut. They're like, oh, nice. And then my point of view, because I'm there 100% of the time, so I know all the type of haircuts. Mm-hmm. So for a client, that something could be good, very good. For me, it's not enough. No.
That's what happened to me. I'm not a barber, but I can judge a haircut, and I can even tell Tico after. I mean, of course, I had to learn this industry. I had to be there. I had to want it to learn. And then I can tell Tico, listen, I think this barber needs more training in shears. This barber needs more training in this aspect. And then he goes and help with the training.
Yeah, I could say I was a little bit forced to learn it. Why? Because one of the challenges that we face, it's the language. So a lot of my barbers don't speak the English. So whenever I have American client, or any culture that doesn't speak Portuguese and that needs to be translated, I need to be there to translate. If I don't know what I'm translating, how's the barber going to give whatever the client wants? So I needed to learn all the terms, what to tell the client, what to tell my barber to do to make sure both were happy. So sometimes I, even before I tell my barber to translate my barber, I give the tip to the client. Hey, so you want to do that? Why don't you do this instead of doing that? And then if we don't like it, we go from whatever you ask for. Yeah, well,
Why
about
not?
that. Why not? You know, and most of the times, what happened? They like mostly what I said to what they wanted. Because it's funny because a lot of people say, hey, I want to have a fade. Let me start on 0. So, all right, but you have long hair, like long hair. Are you sure you want to go to 0? Have you had a fade before? No, but I wanted to try. It's like, it's going to be a shock. Are you sure you want to start with a little higher number? And they're like, all right, let's start with a higher number. And then boom, it's like, oh my God, it's too short. I'm glad that you told me not to start with a 0. It's like, yeah, I had experience. So that's why.
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying. If you don't learn from your mistakes, you're never gonna get better.
True.
Because I had an experience of someone asking me something. I'm just like, all right, he wants this, and then he was not happy with what he asked for. But he's not gonna blame himself.
He's gonna blame the barber.
He's gonna blame the barber, and the barber's gonna blame who? I translated.
Yeah.
So I had to took the fall for many times to learn from my mistakes.
What are like the glory, the benefits you have just to be not just
For not being a barber?
for not being a barber, only the owner, of course you organize, you having all those heavy things on your shoulder. What are the benefits?
You
What
definitely have more free time than a barber, you know, that's for sure. But I don't know, I think the benefits of not being a barber is giving more time to make sure they're going the right way, you know, make sure the business it's on point for them. You know, I want to make sure they have all the best quality products to give to their clients, to use on their clients, you know, make sure my clients have all the best things they could enjoy while they wait for a haircut. So it gives me more time to look for those things, you know, to make sure everybody's happy. Because it's very satisfying for me when a client walks inside, it's like, hey, what a nice environment here. I was like, how did you find this? Oh, I found you guys on Google, you know, seen the pictures, very different place, nice reviews. So I wanted to give it a shot. And then I want to make sure whenever that guy that saw all that things on the Google walked inside the barbershop, he still feels the same way. So
it's not just a commercial.
It's not just a commercial, exactly.
What you're saying about, I forgot. Okay, me as a barber, I was cutting 20 hairs a day. I didn't have the time to manage and create this whole thing you do and her, so I needed her. So as a barber, many barbers doesn't have this mindset to I mean, we don't start learning communication, marketing, finance. We are not good at that.
Mm-hmm.
So either you have someone, you pay someone. My wife doesn't get paid. Either you paid someone to be there and help you, or you have to learn. But you're not gonna have the time if you're cutting 20 hairs a day.
Using your point of view, what you're talking, I had all that time to manage all those things. So I had time to be the marketing. I had time to be the pay traffic. I have time to, you know, to work on the SEO from the business. I have time to do all this stuff until it got to a point this year pretty much where I had my hands full. I was like, I cannot do everything anymore by myself. I needed my parents, but not to be there. But I needed my parents to use their experience with the barbers. So I am the good boss. My parents are there not to be the good boss. They are to be the tough ones. So that's why I need them for management, for meetings.
In-house. Yeah.
For in-house, exactly. So even for the barbers, it took a couple of months to accept that, because they come to me, and they feel very comfortable to open themselves to me. But when my parents come, they're like, "Your mom's here. Oh God, am I doing something wrong?" It's like, no, you're not doing anything wrong. Just relax, you know. But it was good at the same time seeing. It's not good to see fear, but it's good at the same time they respect. You know, fear sometimes comes with respect. But I wanted to, with time, make sure they understand that they were not doing things so they could be fear of them, but they were doing things so they would understand that they need to be respectful. And then whatever my parents were telling them was for their good benefit, not because they want to be evil.
And how they see you, how the barbers look at you. Did they ever mention or throw something on the table? You're not a barber. What do you know?
They do, because the fact that I'm very open with them, we create a very good relationship with all of them, so they feel comfortable saying things that they would never tell to a boss. But because I'm not a type of person like, hey, did you forget who you're talking to? I'm a boss. No, I take it as a joke. No, because I can take it as a joke. With the different crew, I don't think I would. No, I don't have to be more tough. I'm like, hey, what's your language? Be careful who you're talking to. But with those guys that I have today, we are very friendly. So I'm okay of taking it as a joke. At the same time, they're okay of taking things as a joke. When they want to make fun of me, they feel comfortable of me making fun of them. So, which is good for the environment, because clients are sitting there sometimes getting a haircut, and then the barbers are talking to each other, but in a funny way, where the clients feel comfortable in laughing of it. So sometimes the good laugh, it's not when they talk between barber and client, but it's one that we talk to between us. And then we talk all about subjects, soccer sometimes, famous people, whatever subject shows up, we talk about it. And it's funny because sometimes we put the clients in the conversation. Exactly.
I think that's what they look for. Mm-hmm. Men look for this environment. When they go to the barber, they're not there just for the haircut. They're there for the relationship, to talk, to maybe complain about something. We're kind of psychologists. Exactly. They want us to listen, and they want to interact and build this relationship.
So that's what can actually put you on top. So no matter how many barbershops open up close by to you, no matter how much money they put in effort in that business, they made the place huge, beautiful, nice, 10 times better than yours. But if they don't offer what you offer as a good environment, a good conversation, quality service, they won't come back to that fancy place. They will go back to the place that they feel comfortable, where they can get out of work and relax. That's what clients want.
Yes.
That's what we give to them.
And question, so now everything is going really good for you. You were able to overcome all these crazy challenges and build a new team, and the business is growing. What are your plans for the future? So what Ultimate Cave plans?
So we still have a chair open. So I'm taking my time to find the last barber, because if I was able to manage and take the barbershop to a certain level with only 6 barbers, even though I have a chair empty, why not take the time and find the right person to do it? Between that time, we started doing the process of franchise.
Okay.
So we are on that. We already closed up contract with the business, which is helping us with the franchise. It's gonna take a little while because at the same time I don't want to rush things.
You want to do it right.
Yeah, because when you do a franchise, you gotta be very on point what you can offer. Because how are you gonna open a franchisee if the main place is not a good example?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. You have to prove that your business is successful, that model that you created could be reproduced and be successful as well.
So I could rush things and be like, hey, let me pay it off from the company. Let's do things so at the end of the year can open up a new franchise. No. I started out so I can take my time, and then with the time, make sure things are still getting in shape, and then when everything is on point, I'll be close enough to start my franchise. So because it's a lot of paperwork, it's a lot of things that you need to go for. So I'm doing like step by step. I could have rushed because they don't depend on the money. They depend how fast you deliver the information. So I'm not being fast enough because I don't want to. I want to be,
Because if you sell franchises, but then these new business don't succeed, then
Exactly, it's
you're
my fault.
yeah.
Franchisor.
Exactly, because when I talk to a couple of people that regarding open up a franchise, if I say 10 of 9 people told me no, not a good idea.
Why? Why they say that?
Because people are afraid that I'm taking the wrong step, that I'm doing that just because I wanted to grow fast.
What they think you should do?
They were like,
Instead.
most of the advice that I got was like, why don't you open your second place first, and then you start franchising? I was like, yeah, I would love to, but where am I gonna get the money from? You know. Again, barbershop is doing really well, but it's still not enough so I can open a second place, because different from investors, they come with money to do this. So I came with the money counted to buy the place. So whatever effort I'd had done to the barbershop, whatever update I did for the barbershop, it was with the barbershop monies,
Correct.
nothing from my pocket. So for me to open a second place, I need the barbershop to be extremely well. And then we're not there yet. No, it takes time to get to perfection. We never get to perfection, but close with. So today, I'm okay. Today I do well. I pay my bills. I have something left, but I still don't have enough to open up a second place, as people tell me to, because they see around barbershops open up way more fancier than us. And they're like, why don't you do the same? I was like, well, every single barbershop if you go to in Orlando, right? I'm not saying in here, but in Orlando, they all have partners. Everybody has
They
partners.
had investors, right?
Everybody
That
has an
brought the
investor.
money.
I was like, I don't have nobody. It's me and my family.
Yeah.
And I don't want anybody to join us. I don't want to open a second place just to open because I had somebody that gave me the money to.
You know what I see? It's interesting that you're saying that, because I think the same way I wouldn't open a second shop without making sure the first one is really successful and it's really being profitable. And I've seen shop owners that are not administrators, they are barbers. And I saw a couple of them failing because of that, because they have one, they see clients, they don't understand about business administration, they see the money coming in, ooh, I'm making good money. And then they decided to open a second location.
And then the third.
And then the
fourth.
third. But usually they don't go further than 2 or 3, because then they realize they didn't have the proper training system. They didn't have the team. They
Process
open
and standards.
the shop and the chairs are empty because they don't have barbers. But they didn't do the correct math. Is my business profitable? And then the first one they open, it starts paying for the others that are not profitable, and they go through this snowball and they don't know what to do. Recently we had the call from one barber that had this situation.
And I believe sometimes it's the fact of the lack of information that those guys have as well. Because for me, for example, before I started any process of a franchising, I talked to, I'll say, 20 different barbershop owners. And I wanted to know, I also talked to real estate that help me with numbers, to find me numbers of barbershops. And then it's so unreal, the numbers that we make today comparing to other barbershops around. That was like...
You mean more? You guys are doing better.
I'm not talking about double. I'm talking like 5-6 times more.
Wow.
And then those guys that make a lot less than us have at least 2 and 3 barbershops. And if you join them together, it's not even half what I make.
Exactly.
So I was like, well, if they can do it, I believe one day I'll get there as well. But I don't want to rush things. Why choose the franchise instead of a second unit? Well, money, of course, it was a problem. No, I could easily go to the bank. Hey, could I get a loan and open up a second place? But I don't want to put myself in debt. No, I want to make sure one day I'll be good enough to do things little by little. A franchisee actually gives me the opportunity. So I can pay in time to the company to one day we can actually start the process. And then when that happens, I'm not going to be the one open the second unit. Somebody else will, an investor.
But then this person will use your knowledge, because when you sell franchises, basically you're selling systems, process, you're showing out this business model that I created works, and then they reproduce.
Exactly. That's what makes me more comfortable, you could say, because whoever's opened the franchisee of my barbershop, it's going to have my knowledge with it. So I'm selling something that I'm inside a contract with them. So I will always be there for those people. So it's an easier way to make money, an extra money, you could say. So maybe one day I could gather enough to open a second spot on my own, not having partners. Because you could say that franchises are partners, but at the same time, they own the place. They only have my name on it.
Correct.
So whatever help they need, they will get. Because they don't need to go to the same path that I had. They don't need to make the same mistakes, because I already made those mistakes for them.
Yes.
So I'm selling something where I give the tips. Please don't do this. Please don't do that. If you need help, call me. So that was my vision when I started a franchise. It's not going to be something for this year. Maybe not even for next year. We don't know, but I'm not saying I'm going to rush everything. I'm going to go. I'll let time flow. Right, yeah. But the way things are going, I hope maybe next year, the end of the year, it could actually give an effort of let's find buyers, let's find investors.
You find yourself hard to find barbers nowadays?
Not really. It's not hard to find barber. It's hard to find a barber you want it. That's what's very hard. Because whenever you reach a certain amount of, I could say famous, people go after you. So there's a lot of barbers that call me, text me, showed up to the shop, but it's difficult for you to find that barber. I'm not talking about quality. I'm talking about personality. I'm talking about working as a group.
In the
talking
culture.
About understand that you have a boss, because that's one of the difficulties that I had, because all my barbers were owners before. So at the same time, it's a challenging, but at the same time, it's very good, because they all felt what I feel. They all pass what I'm passing through. So, but if you don't have a barber that pass what you pass through, that wants to help you, that guy is going to be trouble.
It's going to drag you down, right?
It's going to drag you down. But if you have somebody that been through what you've been through, but he wants to make sure he's going to help you, to come up, to go forward with that, makes everything a lot easier.
If they being an owner, whenever you say something, hey guys, listen, we cannot do this, we have to change this, they will understand better than someone that has never been in that position.
Exactly.
Because they already been there, and they see, okay, if Diego is asking us to do this, there is a reason. He's planning something bigger for us.
Because I had both examples. I have barbers that were owners that I will tell them to do something, and they'll be like, why he's asking me to do that? I'm not gonna do that. It's not a smart idea. It's not something that you're supposed to be doing, which would cause me trouble. Because when you have somebody that wants to disagree with you, wants to do things on their own ways, things don't flow out of the way it's supposed to, the way you want to do. But at the same time, I have barbers that when I ask them to do something, they'll be like, well, when I had my barbershop, I was asking the same thing. So if I don't do it, it's going to be a lot stressful for him as it was for me. So I don't want him to suffer what I suffered.
Did you went to college for what?
Manager administration.
Okay. Since you have this mindset, entrepreneur mindset, and you take care of the other side of the business, after you pay all the bills for the shop and you take the little left over for yourself, like your personal life, what you would say as a business owner, not a barber, because many barbers don't understand this, you say that is a very, very profitable business that will make like
I have a better question. I was
Yeah.
about to ask this. You read my mind.
No, I think
The
you stole my question.
percentage of your, you don't need to say numbers, but what is your percentage of profit? So 10%, 5%, 15%.
20%, 30%.
After you take
So-
your salary as the owner, of course, you have to have a salary. Then what is the percentage that is profit?
So it is a profit business, but you just need to know how to handle the money. Right now, I'm on a stage where I don't take any profits for myself. Everything that's profit for the business,
It
where
stays in the
I should
business.
get my percentage, I don't get it. It stays in the business. I do get a salary because I need some money
Correct.
because I'm there, you know. But for example, right now, we don't share any profits between me and my parents because we all know it's not the time yet to do so. That's why if you don't have that mind control, things could go wrong. Because you always have to have something left for savings, for emergencies. It could happen.
You're preparing all yourself for long term, right?
Yeah, exactly. For example, I give a good example. Last week I had to do my taxes. I was not expecting to pay at least $2,000. If I don't have that money saved, what I'm gonna
You'll
do?
be in debt.
I'm being debt.
Mhm.
Exactly. So we don't take that profit yet.
But
No.
what would you say is the percentage? Don't say numbers. Like, you don't need to tell me how much you're making, but like 10%, 5% is profit. Because I've been noticed it's not the most profitable business. It's not like 30% profit
could-
like barbers
yeah,
think sometimes.
I could say, I could definitely say barbers make more than us.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I would say the same.
You know,
I was wishing you to say that.
barber make more money than us.
Than the owners.
Yeah, but it's not something that I'm not proud of it because if they are making,
Because we are there. We are there for them.
Because if they are,
And they work hard.
They work
exactly,
They work really
exactly.
hard.
It's actually very satisfying for me seeing that they are actually making good money. They are living a good life because they deserve that because they work hard for me and for themselves.
Yes.
You know, so it's of course you want to be on the same level. We always told them that like our goal is to get what they get,
Mm-hmm.
but little by little we're getting close to it. But I don't want to just jump 10 steps ahead.
But it's very weird to say that barbers make more
More
money
than
than
the
the
owners.
owner,
Yeah.
right? You only realize that when you become a barbershop owner.
Exactly.
Yes.
You know,
That's true. I have more than half of my barbers make better salary than we do, but we share the same mindset as you do. We've been in business for 5 years. Every single cent that is considered profit, we kept in the business. We reinvested. We improved. We kept emergency savings, so we don't take the money for ourselves. We just have this salary. I don't care if this month was profitable or it was negative. I don't take any cent.
for example,
It's a choice.
people don't know this. What I'm gonna tell this now, but my wife doesn't have salary. It's been 5 years. She don't get paid. She only have my
Love.
affection and my love. That's
He
and
pays
she
me with
works.
love.
Man, she works 24/7. We don't have our own house. Still 5 years after, we lease a car. We get all this money and we invest it back to be successful, help the barbers, bring clients in, grow our business the best way we can, and guide them. Like Lydia was saying, some of our barbers making 3-4 times more than us.
Than
But
we
we are
do.
thinking a long term.
Yeah.
The other things that are coming along, that what's gonna make everybody successful.
We decided, so before we had the business, Tico worked as a barber, I had a job, and we were making more money than we do now that we take from the business. We're actually living with literally half than what we used to. So we were making better money
I can say
as
2,500.
employees.
I was making $2,500 per week
or more.
or more. 10,000 from me and another something I was doing behind the chair.
We're making
When-
really
when-
good money
yeah.
working for someone else. And then once we started the business, we decided, okay, how much we need to live, pay your rent, eat, pay your phone. That's what we need. That's what we're taking from the business. Not $1 extra. Let's
None,
keep
zero.
the money in the business. Let's
Yeah.
grow the business.
That's a good
It's
mindset.
a solid
That's
foundation.
pretty much we all go for it, you know, and in our point of view in our barbershop business. like you, I don't own a house. My parents own a house now because at the same time that they brought in money to invest, he still have some leftovers, and they had the time and then the opportunity to buy a house for less than we were expecting. So why not take the shot? So, but for me, as living my life separate from my parents, I rent an apartment. You know, I have my own car, but I still pay monthly payments. I can't pay off a car right away. You know, I don't make half of it what Barber makes, but I
What about if someone asks you, why do you still do it?
Because, like I said, since the beginning, I always think forward. I always think in our future, and I believe that one day we will get there. You know, with our own effort. Because we always say this when we have our meetings. My father always has this to say, like, if it's good for you, it's good for us. But if it's not good for us, it's not good for you. So he always say that in the meeting. When we start meeting, he's like, do you guys remember what I always say? And he repeats. Why? Because right now, it's good for them. And it's getting better for us. We're not on the same level. But if we don't accept that they need to feel comfortable.
To be good for you guys.
It's not going to be good for us, never.
For sure. They wouldn't stay working with you if it's not good for them,
exactly.
Right?
So we help them with everything we can. Work visa, finding a house, finding an apartment, whatever they need, I'm there for them. They even make jokes of me sometimes. It's like, well, you told us in the meeting that whatever we need, you can talk to you. So I need your help right now to talk on the phone with me. So they make that fun, but I would never say no. No. Because I know how much they work hard for us. And then one day, all the hard work that they do for us is going to, somehow makes us get to a better place.
For sure.
And then I always tell my parents that better place is going to be whenever we have the second spot. Because if right now what we're making, it's paying our bills, it has some leftovers, we have a savings account for the business. If we can have the same thing same income coming from a different spot, which is ours as well, that's where we can
then
take some profit.
Get better for you. Mm-hmm.
But until we open this one, the matrix has to be perfect, close to it. So we can use everything that we've done here
in the second
and use it in the second location. Because there is no point, like I said, there is no point of rushing a franchise or open a second place if you don't feel that the first one, it's where are you supposed to, where you want it to be. So with time, we'll get there.
I love that. You're not rushing things. You're not expecting instant gratification.
Exactly.
You're living through the process, and you understood that it takes time.
It takes time.
Because,
and I like that about you.
People see it. Clients notice that because they'll be like, "Hey, do you want to open a second place? I can help you. I can be your investor. It can be partners. You should open a second place because this one is full already." I was like, "Yeah, I will one day. I just can't right now, And I don't want your help. I'm sorry to say that, but I don't want anybody's help because I believe because the fact that we are a family business, if I put somebody in there that's not our family, if one thing would disagree, things could go to the hole again.
Yes,
and that's our fear.
We don't want to try that. I think an investor might not have the same drive to be there on Sunday with you and understand that, okay, now the money's not coming in. I'm going to have to be there on Sunday and Mondays, holidays, and vacation with him. They're not going to have the same drive and patience.
An old barber of mine, which I fired because of things that were on the same page, like being disorganized, not being good enough with clients. I'm not saying quality because quality is unbelievable good. But it doesn't mean
work ethic.
It doesn't mean that it's still it matches with the business because it's not what I wanted. He had to help to open his home place. his own barbershop. But it's 3 different investors. And me as an owner today, after 1 year checking out the numbers, I was like, how is surviving? How is he surviving? Where is he getting that money from? I mean, I know he still works for himself because he's a barber. But what about investors?
Yes. You know what I see? You're talking about this. It's so interesting because we also have clients that say, hey, why don't you guys open a second location? I would love to invest. I want to be the investor. I have the money. Let's open it. People have a misconception that because the barbershop is full, it means it's really profitable. Mm-hmm. And I respect people that use investors to open a business if that's the route they want to go. Mm-hmm. It's not the route we wanted to go. We didn't want investors. We did like you. We're self-made with our own hard work money. It took us years to save money to open the business. A lot of struggles. But I respect if a person wants to go that route. But I always wonder the same question. I see my numbers and I know I'm doing better than a lot of other shops financially. We do good. I can't complain. But I think, wow, how they can share the profits because it's not enough for all these people to survive from the business.
Exactly.
And then I keep asking, like, how do they do?
I never talked to those people, but I always imagine as well, like, because I see the numbers and I know I'm top of most of the barbers and barbershops in Orlando, and I was like, how are they living?
Exactly.
I hope they don't depend on the money because
how are they gonna share that profit?
Which profit?
If I can share, and I'm not saying that I should compare, but because I see whatever amount of money that we make, which is not a lower number, and I'm still can share a profit with my parents. How are they going to share with investors?
Exactly. Even if you're doing better than most barbershops, right? Your numbers are much better and you still can see how they share the profits.
I'm like, how long it's going to take for the investors start complaining? Like, hey, I put some money into it. When do I get that money back?
Yes.
But
so I think that's smart from you not jumping in the franchise world right away. You're trying to create a strong foundation. Like, this is really profitable. That's how we manage. That's how you do. That's how much you pay for your barbers. That's how you do marketing. Because then the investor will be secure that, okay, in 3 years, I'll get my money back. Or in 5 years, whatever might be the case. I think it's smart for you not jumping like, I want to open a franchise. Because then the investor will be really mad at you.
Exactly.
If they don't get the money back.
And I can't just go and jump on that. For example, this is the first year that I actually have somebody working for me. I'm not talking about barbers, but about marketing, paid traffic, about creating logos, creating, posts, working on my website. I have 6 different people working for me today. I only have those guys working for me for a couple of months. It would be very dumb of me open up something without make sure I had that team for at least a year where I mastered them.
Yeah.
So things take time. You can't just go and jump 10 steps ahead. I believe that's a lot of mistakes that people make in this business specific. I'm not saying other business because I can, but this one that I've been through for 6 years, at least one as owner, I could say it's a huge mistake of putting 10 steps forwards without taking the shots first.
I agree 100%.
But at the same time, like you, I respect people that use investors. I'm not saying
it's
all
wrong.
of them doesn't work. No. Otherwise, it wouldn't be investors.
Correct.
But in the barbershop business, it's very, very difficult, in my point of view, of having those investors in the first place, in the first barbershop. If I could not say it would never happen, but let's say I do have 2 places that I already feel comfortable with, I can take some profit of it, and I open up a 3rd place with an investor.
Why not, right? If it's the opportunity.
I already have 2 of 3 barbershops that are 100% of mine. If something goes wrong with the 3rd one, nothing's gonna change in my pocket for now, But
As I said, there is a huge
something for the future. Yeah.
misconception of our industry from people that are not barbers that or never had the experience to own a shop. There is a misconception that, okay, this place is packed, and they start looking, okay, there are 7-8 barbers, they charge $30, $35 for a haircut. They start doing the math, and then they think, oh, this is really profitable. And in reality, it's not. Even good administrators like you that are on top and you had previous knowledge in studying, in college for that, you still find challenges. Imagine a barber that is not prepared because he never had education about that. It's not that easy to be successful. I see a lot of average barbershops, just normal. I don't know if they're making money. They can make a living. Make a living is different than like growing, making money, being profitable. Just making a living, paying your rent, paying your car, paying your food doesn't mean that your business is profitable and it's going to grow. It doesn't mean that.
Exactly.
Most barbershops are just average barbershops. Once in a while, we see some that are, how do you say, fora da curva? They are different than...
Out of the curve.
Out of the curve. They are like, okay, this guy's doing really good. He's expanding. We have a good example from Brazil, which is Seu Elias. He's amazing what he's doing.
I always use him as an example. Even for my marketing, everything that I because I'm very creative. I imagine a lot of things in my mind, and I bring those ideas to those guys that work for me. And then I was like, listen, this is what came to my mind. What do you guys think? What do you guys can work on it? And then boom, they made it happen. Sometimes if I need to give, for example, my website, it was basically mostly on whatever Seu Elias had. No, not same idea, but very close to it. Like the concept.
You got inspired by what he's doing, right?
Because let's say you need to create a website. Where do we start from? I gave him a start. Listen, this is what I feel and then call professional. This is what I want. I want to be professional on this. I don't want just a regular website. I want people clicking in on the website and it was like, wow, this is actually huge. No. And, well, I use him a lot as an example.
So, Diego, what is success for you? Success for many people is different. Mm-hmm. For me, for example, let me give my example. Success for me is become a better person. And by becoming a better person in a different aspect in your life, you might be able to help others. Mm-hmm. So what is success for you?
So for me, it was becoming the person that I became, I could say pretty much, because I had to jump a lot of steps between my life. So I had to be someone different from who I was it. I had to put in my mind, well, I'm not a manager anymore. I'm an owner. So I can't do things that I used to do as a manager now as an owner. I can act like I used to act as a manager now as an owner. So it was very grateful and successful on my part seeing my family growing on that situation as well. So in 1 year, my parents were with me the whole time since I started Barbershop in 2016 until since. But it's different for them when they actually start putting this step forward, putting the step inside in the business, and then judging things, being part of situations, and then seeing now then they overcome all the fear they had, and actually turning into good owners and respectable ones. It's very grateful, and I believe that would be a successful idea for us, because when we start this way, money comes with the flow, you could say, It's when you do something right, it pays you off in the future. And I believe we could say it's very successful in there.
Would you say like the person you became through this whole process is your like biggest success? Because of your learning situations you had to learn, and then you were a different person now. Yes. Your growth.
I think the same.
Yes, because things that happen in barbershop affected me in different levels. my personal life, my business life, everything had some kind of a touch since I became an owner. So it took me a lot of me to understand that, and then be mature enough to separate things, personals into business, business in personal. At the same time, understand everything that I learned in college and put it in actually in work. So that was very successful was my part as well. I was like, well, those boring classes were actually working on something, because at the same time you think you're doing something just for doing, but in the future you will never know. It could always help you whatever you learned in the past. So I could say that I was also successful of me using all the methodologies that I learned into the work.
Applying at your business. Before we finish, I just want to say something. I respect the fact that you were not a barber and you're running a successful barber shop. Sometimes I think, oh my God, how can someone that is not a barber run a barber shop? And you're the perfect example that it works. And you guys have been doing really good. We've been following you for quite some time, seeing your journey. And I respect your journey. I respect everything you're building. And I think you're going to go really far with your business.
Thank you.
I think you have the right mindset to do it.
It's listening a lot of examples that you guys gave to me, listening to your story, we're very similar, very like, because everything you guys do, it's legal, could say. We do nothing like we say in Portuguese, baixo dos panos. We do nothing illegal. We do everything in a way
under the table.
Under the table, exactly. We don't do nothing like that. We do things that's supposed to be the right way. So when you do things like that, in the future, you start gaining everything you gather in the past. So
I would say when you do everything by the law, like it's supposed to, and in an ethical way, it seems harder sometimes, but it pays off.
It does pay off, because when you do things how it's supposed to, people feel grateful that you're actually doing things how you're supposed, and not just trying to be smarter than other people. So because I'm not doing anything to overcome nobody, people are very grateful and they want to help us in that whatever aspect it is. Now, I give a good example. Our sign outside, it was just put last week after 6 years. I never had a sign.
Whoa.
Of course, I wasn't the owner always, but my first year of owner barbershop was at least putting a sign outside. Why nobody put a sign outside? Because I understood it was very hard to get things under the law.
Permits and everything. Oh,
exactly.
Jesus.
Getting
it's expensive.
approved by landlords, associations, and this and that. And then I had examples close by me, people that put things outside, signs outside, without even getting a permit. So I rather take the time to do things on the right way, because I know in the future I'll get something back of it, like having a little bit of faith, I could say, that everything that I'm doing is for the better, and I believe people are seeing that and feeling what I'm doing, and then you never know, in the future I hope things will overcome everything that I done right.
Yeah. Diego, since you have this different mindset, let's say 7 or 8 out of 10 barber shops, the owner is a barber. So what advice, looking from your lenses, because you're not a barber, what advice you would give to barbershop owners that are barber? Because look, I have her. She does everything behind the scenes for me. Like, she organizes everything, meetings, everything else. I'm cutting, I'm taking care of my team, creating methodology, contents, and all that stuff. But barber doesn't have that much time, like we were talking. So what are the advice we give to someone that is barber behind the chair?
So with the lessons that I had through the years, if you're a barber and you do want to start your own place, before you put a step ahead on that idea, study before you actually open something. When I say study, you need to be you don't need to get a college degree or whatever. You just need to study your business, because being a barber, it means you know the service. It means you have the quality to do it, but it doesn't mean you know everything that's running behind you. So do a little bit of study, like understand, talk to barbershop owners that are successful. Gather as much information as you can, tips, because everybody can actually open a barbershop. It takes a lot of effort. But if you don't actually take the time to understand things that you don't do it, you're not going to be successful. You are going to shut down very soon.
Amazing. Diego, can you leave with us your Instagram?
Yes. Which one do you want? The barbershops or my personal one?
The Ultimate Cave.
So it's at the Ultimate Cave. At the Ultimate Cave Barbershop, I think so. Yeah.
The Ultimate Cave.
Yeah, I think it's just the Ultimate Cave. Yeah, just the Ultimate Cave. It's not that big because the name is huge. So if you guys want to check it out, or barbershop, feel free. It's a very nice environment. You guys should come one day to visit.
I will.
I'll be very honored in receiving you guys there. So you guys could have some coffee. Play some pool.
I think we're gonna be in Orlando for
the Orlando premiere in June.
June.
Nice.
We're gonna stop by.
We stop by, and guys, follow Diego, the Ultimate Cave owner, and please follow me, Tico Invictus. Diego, thank you very much for coming to the Black Belt Barber podcast, the first and only podcast about entrepreneurship for barbers and professionals of our beauty industry. Thank you very, very much. Guys, you can't miss this out. This was amazing.
Thanks so much, you guys, for having me.
I learned a lot. I was just like a student here.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for